How many people do you know who struggle with their health? Chances are, whether they show it or not, most of the people in your life do. And chances are, you're one of them. Whether you're dealing with anxiety, depression, endometriosis, acne, eczema, autoimmune, thyroid, Lyme, brain fog, fatigue, or any other symptom or condition, you're far from alone. Living with symptoms has become the new normal. So no more guessing games. It's time to get answers. Welcome to the Medical Medium Podcast. I'm Anthony William. We're talking about spring for spiritual cleansing and spiritual healing. So many people get all locked up in the winter, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And it tends to stick with them like a PTSD, a winter PTSD from the long months and the sky being so gray and the sun being so far away. But when spring comes, it doesn't mean it naturally just shakes off. It could last. There are people out there that worry about getting to the next February. When the fall comes, they start getting nervous, almost panicked because the last February was so hard on them. So how do we shake that off? How do we heal emotionally? How do we use spring to launch our healing forward? Emotionally, spiritually, mentally. How do we do that? In this episode, get ready. Lots of tips here, lots of powerful tools to move you forward so you're ready to take on the fall when it comes. So you're healing faster before the summer. So you're getting yourself ready emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Here we go. It's springtime. When you hear about cabin fever, you think about a ski trip. You're just a little bored. You're in your cabin too long. You go out to dinner. You go skiing the next morning. You get on the slope. You're back in your cabin. You're bored again. You don't know what to do. You're pacing. Then you get back out when you get a chance. It's cabin fever. It makes it feel like you're basically at a resort and you're just a little bored for the moment. Or if you catch the flu and you're homesick for a week or 10 days and you're not allowed to go out because you got a fever, you don't feel good, you just can't hack it, you can't get out and drive, you're too sick, you're coughing, you start getting that cabin fever. But what about the long winter months? What about December, January, February, even March? There's not a lot of sunlight. The sun is low in the sky, and the cold weather kicks in, and the snow is on the ground, the ice is on the ground. Sure, you can go out, do some different things. Maybe you have to work, and you go to work every day. Maybe you're somebody that works at home. Maybe you're not working right now. Maybe you're somebody that's chronically sick, chronically ill, and you're just home because you're trying to heal, you're struggling, you're suffering with symptoms. It can get really hard. And cabin fever turns into something different. Turns into something that sits in the mind, sits in the consciousness. It's why a lot of people move to warm climate areas if they have the resources and opportunities to do so. If winters are long and hard, a winter PTSD can occur. It's where we have memories of the winter, memories of the long, hard, cold months. And anything that happened during the winter, any kind of struggles, any kind of hardships, or just difficult moments in relationships or with something in the outside world can get stored up inside, can sit deep into the mind and the consciousness and subconsciousness, can sit there actually forever. There are people out there that'll say, I remember that winter. Oh yeah, that was a hard winter. Oh yeah, I remember that winter. That was a bad February in my life. I remember that time. That was a bad Valentine's Day. That was a bad January. That new year wasn't fun. I remember how hard it was. But when spring comes, people just push through. They just push through, move forward, but yet they still have old PTSD from that February, that January, that December, that late November. They still have something inside of them that got trapped emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And it doesn't stop there with January, February, and March. It could be as far as the fall, October. It could be in the summer too. They could have had a hard time or a hardship or struggling with chronic illness or some kind of confrontation, a relationship breakup, or any kind of disappointment or letdown. And it could have happened in the previous summer. And then it gets brought into the fall and dragged into the winter. Never really releases or goes out of them. People can bring Old trauma from the previous summer into the fall, into the winter, and then kind of relive it during the cold months when they're trapped inside and the snow is out there. Seasons and nature play a great role in our mental and emotional healing and spiritual healing. Think about this. What about the first frost? How many people remember a first frost in a season? They remember it, they sense it. Do you ever step outside and smell a first frost or see it on the ground? Or what about a first snow, the snowflakes coming down, a very first brand new snow, and you see white everywhere and you see the snowflakes coming down? There's something we relate to. There's a sensation. There's an emotional connection to all of these different parts of nature and the seasons. The birth of a newborn baby. We remember the season. We remember the week. We remember the day. Remember what the weather was like that day. Was it sunny? Was it warm? Was it a snowy day? And what about when we get a new puppy? What was the day like then? Do you remember the season? Was it the fall, the winter? Was the puppy playing in the snow, leaving footprints? When it comes down to the spring, profound effects can occur when you connect with the spring and nature. Profound effects that helps to get rid of PTSD. PTSD, emotional healing that needs to happen, emotional wounds that are trapped deep in the consciousness, subconsciousness, or just in the mind in the moment and in the memory recently. Healing on a deep level can happen in the spring if we use the right spring tools and we know how to use them, how to make the tools work for us, how to have the spring work for us to rid the PTSD, to create the healing. One simple way to help with this is to monitor the grass, to watch the grass grow. So let's get down to it. If there's a grassy knoll nearby, if there's a yard, a backyard, a front yard, maybe a park, and it's a nice enough day, sit down in the grass. Sit down and look at the grass. Look at the color. Connect with it. It's one thing if you're just driving by and you see grass, or you're walking by and you see grass, but you're not making the connection. It's another thing if you're making the connection. If you know why you're doing it, it's critical because you're seeing the grass, you're seeing the green, you're sitting down within it, you're watching it. And see if you can see any signs of life around the grass or in the grass. Do you see a bird fly by? Do you see a bird land in the grass? If you do, pay attention to it. Look at it. Admire it. What kind of bird is it? Nothing rewires the brain like nature does. While you're sitting on the grass, listen to bird sounds. See if you can find any. See if you can hear any with your ears from a distance. Listen to the different sounds of the birds while you're looking at the green grass. Birds live for the grass. They love when the grass starts turning green. It's everything to birds. Birds know that their food sources are in that grassy lawn, that grassy field, that grassy knoll, that backyard, that grassy front yard. Now, plucking grass off that field, off that lawn, grabbing grass that's green and fresh and vibrant and alive, and plucking it and placing it in your hands and looking at it closely, holding it, and absorbing that nature, absorbing that color of that green into your consciousness, into your mind, into your subconsciousness, becomes a powerful tool in erasing memories that are toxic, loosening old experiences that were toxic, getting them to loosen, getting them to soften, because what happens is they get hard, they harden up. Old experiences harden up in the tissue, emotional experiences. Getting them to become softer, soften up, and loosen up is critical. Out with the old, in with the new is critical for healing, and spring can help you with this. It's references, nature references, that help rewire and replace and cloud out old references of cabin fever, old references of February PTSD, old references of hardships, confrontations and breakups and betrayal. Nature helps to replace, and that replacement is critical when it comes down to healing and PTSD. So when you're looking at the grass, you see that green color, it gets etched in the mind, etched in the consciousness. You see a bird land on the lawn on that grass, prance around, even if it's 100 yards away and you see it way in the distance. It replaces, it rewires. It's filling the consciousness and moving other things out, softening and loosening other experiences that nestled in there and got strong over time and sat there and hardened up. Things that we don't want to reference all the time or remember all the time because it's toxic. Nature is the great replacement. Hearing the birds chirp, seeing them prance on the grass, holding plucked grass in your hands, admiring it, looking at it, and then looking for twigs. Can you get up and walk on that grass? Can you find an old twig, a small one, pick it up in your hands, sit back down and hold that twig and look at that twig? And as you're listening to the sounds of nature around you, hold that tiny twig. Is that twig breakable? Can you break it in your hand? Can you break it in multiple areas? It doesn't hurt the twig. The twig is already dead. The twig has already fallen off the tree, but it's spring. And spring noises are alive. And the snap of a twig is a sound that's coming from you snapping the twig in nature. It's a naturistic sound. It rewires the brain. It rewires the consciousness. When you hear the snap of the twig, it's a sound that penetrates the neurons, the nerve cells, the glial cells, your brain, and then it penetrates the consciousness, the subconsciousness, the emotional barriers, the mental barriers. That sound goes through those barriers. If you can, start snapping the twig in various places. Hear the snaps each time. Some snaps may be a little brighter, some snaps may be a little softer, but it's these sounds you're hearing over and over. Grab another twig, break that twig in little places, maybe every half an inch or quarter of an inch if you can. It could be the tiniest twig, and break them with your fingers, snapping little bits of it off one by one. What this does is send sounds of that nature, vibrations, through your hands, through your arms, into your body, into your physical body. And the sounds get into the consciousness once again and subconsciousness. You're creating references, naturistic references that shadow out and push out old references that are toxic. Now let's compile all of these references, all of these experiences of nature together. Let's hold on to that grass in our hand. Let's gather up all those little broken pieces of the stem of that stick or twig. Let's gather them up and also put them in our hand. And let's look at them while listening. Are you hearing birds still? Are you hearing a breeze? Are you feeling a breeze? Is it windy? Are you hearing other noises? Can you see in front of you the grass? Do you think it has grown much since you've been sitting there? Is it sunny out? Is it not sunny out? Is it cloudy out? Taking in the sounds of the spring. You're absorbing the spring. You're feeling the spring. You're moving old emotions out of your body. You're healing PTSD from the past. You're using spring as a powerful healing tool. Can you hear any birds? Are you listening to more than one bird? Try to hone in on one of the bird sounds, one of the birds that you're listening to. Try to focus just on that one. After you're hearing that bird, you can move off and find another bird that you're listening to and focus on that one. This is selective. You're selecting a bird and focusing on that bird. By doing that, the sound of that bird specifically goes into your consciousness and goes in there deep and enters the subconsciousness. After listening to that bird, move your thoughts and mind and move your ears to listen for another bird somewhere else as you're sitting there. By pinpointing these sounds, the noises from the birds, their singing, their chirping, their joyfulness, you're creating an imprint You're imprinting these birds and their sounds and their beautiful songs into your consciousness, into your subconsciousness, into your mind, into your soul. Nature's replacing old experiences that are toxic, that shouldn't be nestled so deeply into your cells and into your soul. They should be pushed aside and not taking the spotlight, not dominating, not creating OCD and PTSD. Sure, experiences that you've had in your life, they have their place, but they don't need to dominate and take over your consciousness. They don't need to take over your every moment and every thought. And they don't need to feed into the OCD and the PTSD and other injuries. We need to replace them and fill those places with beautiful sounds of birds, the green color of grass, the sounds of twigs snapping, that sound of nature getting into the consciousness, clearing out the winter, clearing out the winter months, clearing out emotions that were stored up deep in the cells. Once you get up from your nature spot, once you get up from the lawn, from the grassy knoll, the grassy field, the grassy park, once you get up and you stand up and you start walking away, wherever you're heading to, don't think about other things that you're doing for the rest of the day. Think about in that moment as you're walking away from your nature spot. Think about the color of the grass. Think about it in your hand. Think about the twigs. Think about the birds and the sounds that you were honing in on. Think about spring and its healing powers. Think about the rewiring that occurred. Think about new references you just received in your soul forever and consciousness. Don't let go of that so fast. Hang on to it a little longer as you're walking away. This makes it even stronger and more powerful. And from there on out, keep in mind that spring holds a power that can get deep into our soul, reignite healing, reverse PTSD, and give you a fresh start. Because that's what spring's for, to create a new beginning. It's spring. Yes, it is. It's important to know it. It's important to see it. I can feel it. It's spring. Yes, it is. It goes by quick, but that's okay, as long as I see a little bit of it every day. I'm making a sketch in my mind of a bird, tree, a flower, a bee, all in time. There's one now, a bird. I could see it. Wow. It's landing straight on the ground. Why did the bird come my way? Was it just by chance? Or is it a blessing from God? I think I'll ask anyway. God, dear God, why did the bird come my way? If an angel was sent down, would an angel say that the spring holds power by the hour every day? Would the angel say you can use the spring's power to heal every day? And then the angel says, I'll be off on my way. Keep in mind that spring is the battery charger for the soul and the emotional tower. For the mind, when it's filled with so many wounds, things go sour. And spring creates imprints that replace the imprints. Good things today that replace some of the bad things of yesterday. Helps us to move into tomorrow with less sorrow, and truly helps our healing get on its way. Whatever you've been through, whatever you're going through, try to get a little bit of spring, even if it's just a blade of grass in your hand, listening to a bee fly by, hearing a bird song. You can't go wrong. Give it a minute and soak it up. Be aware of it and let it sink into your soul. And always remember, it's there for you every year.
Original published medical medium information gets stolen and poached by podcast doctors, social media doctors, influencers, and medical clinics. Medical medium information has never yet been proven wrong by medical science and research. Instead, the opposite. Only proven right and then taken from medical medium published material and used in the conventional and alternative health communities. Medical medium information continually sets the stage for medical science to understand chronic illness better. If you choose to share or use the original, unique content from the Medical Medium podcast, books, or Medical Medium social media, please cite where this information comes from, so others who see and learn of this information have a chance to know where it all originates, to give them an opportunity to heal, so they don't end up losing years of their life searching for answers like so many have before them. The Medical Medium information here on this podcast doesn't come from broken science, interest groups, medical funding with strings attached, botched research, lobbyists, internal kickbacks, persuaded belief systems, private panels of influencers, health field payoffs, trendy traps, or gathered bits and pieces of gimmicky confusion. Because chronic illness is exploding like never before in our modern day history, it takes a greater force than us down here. It takes a helping hand from above. Medical medium information has street cred. It's an organic movement of countless people around the world healing. More healing stories of real people not being paid to tell their life-changing experiences of rising out of the ashes of sickness and entering into the light of full recovery, getting their lives back and finally healing when nothing else in the world of health could move the needle and get them better. The information on this podcast is not man-made. It comes from above, from a higher source. Whatever you believe in, whether God, the universe, the light, or the creator, or if you believe in nothing at all, that we're just floating through space together on this rock. Know that the information you hear on this podcast is separate from all the other noise out there. It comes from a different place, a pure, untampered with, advanced, clean, uncorrupted, original, primary source, a higher source, spirit of compassion.